Welcome to the Membership Guys podcast. Kick-ass advice and tips for membership site owners.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 125 of the Membership Guys podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morrison, and this is the place to be for proven practical tips and advice on growing a successful membership website. Today, I want to share with you 3 membership tactics that we're currently experimenting with for our own membership site, membersiteacademy.com. Now, the great thing, one of the things I love most about membersiteacademy.com, and I know our members share these sentiments, is the fact that not only do we provide training materials and all the sort of stuff you would expect from a membership website, but we kind of serve a dual purpose. On the one side of things, we are an educational, e-learning, community-based membership website. But on the other side, we're also a living, breathing case study for other membership site owners. You know, this is something that comes from that very meta thing of being a membership site about membership sites. So not only do our members get to learn from the courses, the training materials, the resources, and the interactions in the community, they also learn a lot just from watching the things that we do. And we fully embrace that in Membersite Academy, and we try and find as many ways as possible to allow people to see behind the curtain. One of the ways that we do that is with regular behind-the-scenes training workshops where we actually go through in a 30 to 45 minute training session. We actually go through a specific thing that we've done or that we're planning. So for example, taking a deep dive into our onboarding processes, looking at how we organized a second tier, a private mastermind on top of the membership. So we have those kind of training workshops, but the other way that we allow people to take a little peek behind the curtain and to learn from the things we're doing is with a recently added section that we put in the community called the Membership Lab. So this is where we're essentially running and documenting experiments. So things that we wanted to test out ourselves as membership site owners, rather than testing loads of stuff and then maybe doing a workshop later on down the line on one of the things that worked, or, you know, on something that's a little broader. What we're doing is anything that we decide to try out that's new or that's different in the academy for our own purposes, we actually lay it out in real time as an experiment inside the membership lab. So this enables us to kind of be crash test dummies for our members, because if we're trying out new tools or new tactics and they don't work, then we've saved time and we've saved money for our members. It also lights a little bit of an extra fire under our backsides for making sure that we are continuously trying new things for our own business, because we want to be able to share the results of the tests that we're doing with our members. And the great thing is, even if they don't work, we've managed to extract value in terms of being able to create content for our members. So today, I wanted to share with you 3 experiments that we've been conducting and that are still ongoing for Membersite Academy that are right now being shared and documented inside the Membership Lab section of the Academy community. If you are an Academy member, of course, you can pop into the Membership Lab section inside the community now, and you can go further into the 3 experiments that we're talking about here. We've got walkthrough videos and comparisons and all that sort of stuff to really, really delve deep into this stuff. But for now, here's just a general overview of what we've been looking at. The first experiment that we've been doing is sending out personalized welcome videos for each and every new member. Now, as your membership grows and it gets into several hundreds or it tips over the 1,000 member mark, it can be really difficult to maintain a personal relationship with your members. There's simply not enough hours in the day to do that. So we really want to try and find an easy way to balance the scalability that we need due to the size of the membership with the personal engagement that we wanted to be able to give people, because it always feels special when you get that little personal touch. So we figured a great way of doing that would be to send short, personalized welcome videos for our new members. And we were doing that using a service called bombomb.com. That's bomb as in explosive bomb twice, bomb.com. So this is basically a service that allows you to create short, personalized videos that get sent out via email. The main purpose of this was to try and increase engagement in terms of getting people into the forum quickly and early on in their membership, and to get them introducing themselves, because we found that the members who stick around longer and who engage the most are the ones who jump right into the community, but not everybody does that. Now, we've got a while to go before we can do a real in-depth analysis of the long-term impact that this has had on things like retention. But so far, it's looking very positive. We've had great feedback. So what we do is once or twice a week, Callie or myself sit down, and for each and every member that has joined during the previous period, we'll record generally a 30 to 60 second long video. Now, before we do that, we check a couple of things. The first thing, and the more important thing that we do check, is whether they've already introduced themselves in the forum. If they haven't, then usually we don't have too much information about them, so there's a limit on how personalized we can make it. With those guys, the real aim of it is to get them to introduce themselves. So those videos to people who haven't introed themselves are generally including a link to the introductions forum, and the message from us is to say welcome, to thank them for joining, and to encourage them to go introduce themselves and ask any questions in the forum. If somebody has introduced themselves, then what we'll do is we'll try and take some information from that, either about where they're from or the type of industry they're in, or maybe an interesting fact about themselves, and we'll talk about that. We'll mention that during the welcome video. It could be something as simple as, really hope the weather's treating you well over there in Texas, or something as, we had a look at your website. Your website looks great, by the way. I really love your style. I'm really looking forward to getting to know more about how this is progressing. We try and get that little bit of a personal touch because we want to make that genuine connection. And we've had some incredible feedback on that. In fact, we've had people outright say that they'd initially planned to join the membership, power through some of the content, and then leave at the end of the first month. So they're just going to try and pack in as much as they could into the first month with no intention of staying beyond that. You're always going to get a few people like that in any membership. But those people then turned around and said, and they posted this inside the community, that they decided to stick around long term because their mind was changed when they received the welcome video, and they saw that we just went that little extra mile to provide a personal touch. And I know some of the people who said that, they are still around. They're being true to the word. They're sticking around longer term and they're engaging in the community. So that's one tactic that we're currently experimenting with, welcome videos for new members. We've definitely seen an uptick in terms of how many people are actually jumping in and introducing themselves, where previously they hadn't before the video was sent out. And as mentioned, we are going to be looking at this over a longer stretch of time to get a proper analysis of whether this is something that impacts, in a positive way, retention. But even if it isn't, the qualitative results that we're getting, just in terms of positive feedback and the little thank you notes and stuff like that, making people feel more welcomed, more value, it's very much worth the effort that goes into creating these welcome videos. Now, as mentioned, the system we're using for that is bombbomb.com. We are toying and we're going back and forth on switching over to a service called bonjoro.com, bonjoro.com. There's pros and cons to each. So if you're looking to model this or try this out for yourselves, definitely look at each of these services and see which one best fits how you want to use this. Some of the other ways we might look to expand on this experiment is to send personalized videos when people accomplish certain milestones, or we encourage our members to share their wins and their successes inside our membership. We want to start sending out some personalized videos to congratulate people when they have a great launch or something like that. So there's so many ways you can use that kind of personalized video to really get that personal touch and that personal engagement, even if you have a large-scale membership site. So if you are an Academy member, you can really deep dive into figures, and we've got video walkthroughs of how we actually set the system up for ourselves, screenshots of how we're using it. That's all there inside the Membership Lab section in the community, so check that out. The second tactic we've been experimenting with is presenting a trial offer for the membership for people who have visited the sales page more than once. So this was kind of based on the hypothesis that if somebody visits the sales page a few times in a short period of time, that they are on the fence, that they weren't so compelled to join that they had to sign up there and then. They're coming back, they're making their decision, they're trying to weigh up whether they should join. And perhaps those guys might be nudged more in the right direction if we just add a little bit more risk reversal in terms of giving them the ability to take the membership for a test drive to see for themselves whether it is actually for them. It's very difficult, even with the best of sales pages, even watching behind the scenes videos or anything like that. It's difficult to know 100% that something is the right membership for you if you are a little more cautious or if you are a little more pragmatic, without getting in there and getting stuck in, watching the content and taking it for a test drive. So we used a product called convertbar.com to detect repeat sales page visitors and just show them a little strip across the top of the sales page that would offer them a $1 7-day trial if they had visited the sales page more than twice. So the idea was that that trial would nudge people who are on the fence into checking out the Academy by reducing the barriers of joining and reducing the risk from their part. So we've tested out trials before, usually just via email to our list. They've been very hit and miss for us. We've talked about them on past episodes as well. The logic to this test really lies in the repeat sales page visit. So it's somebody who isn't necessarily going to sign up for a trial on an impulse. They have slightly more serious intentions about joining the Academy and possibly might have joined us anyway, but it may take them a few months or they may forget or anything like that. So in terms of gauging the success, we're really looking not just at how many new members it attracted, but also how many of those stuck around after the initial 7-day period. And then, again, longer term, we'll want to be looking at whether the member retention from people who initially joined on a trial is better or worse than member retention from people who just signed up regularly. So we had about a 50% conversion on people who clicked on the special offer and then went on to sign up, which we were very, very happy with. So 50% of people who saw that offer went on to actually sign up using the trial. And from those guys, 76% of them stuck around at the end of that initial 7-day period, which is a fantastic trial retention period. Now, again, we're going to be looking at this over a longer period of time just to gauge whether drop-off rates after the first month, second month, third month, and so on, how they compare to a non-trial member. And as such, we're going to be leaving a good period of time before we perhaps look at running this again. It's not something we want to have as an ongoing offer on the sales page, but it's something that once we've crunched those numbers longer term, we have up our sleeve to be able to run as a special promotion perhaps once a quarter, now that we know that it's fairly effective. So again, it's really about those long-term retention stats, but particularly because we'd had mixed results just having a straight up trial offer that went out to everybody. Having this slight little twist on it, making it targeted at repeat sales page visitors, so far as perhaps being the more effective use of a trial we've ever had with the Academy, and the results so far are looking very good. So that's the second tactic we're experimenting with. And again, if you are an Academy member, inside the dedicated experiment thread we've got in the membership lab, then we drill down further into the stats. We drill down into the system we're using, how we set it up, the language used, all that sort of stuff. So be sure to check that out. The third tactic that we're currently experimenting with inside the Academy is using messenger bots for improving engagement and retention. So one of the simplest but most effective things that we do in the Academy is sending out a weekly member news email. Now, usually that's obviously mentioning any new content that's been added this week, but the main focus of it is also in directing people towards community conversations. So discussions taking place inside the Academy. Now that gets great feedback. It averages about a 60% open rate each week, which is lower than we would like, and which means that there's a number of members who may not be aware of everything that goes on in the Academy. And even the people who open those emails, because they primarily focus on the discussions that are taking place in the community, whereas the actual content added usually is within the opening paragraph, we know that some people jump straight to that list of discussions and they maybe don't actually see fully news about new content in the Academy. So we wanted to try this out as a way of not only reaching the people who the emails aren't necessarily reaching, but also just to make sure that there's that little bit more of a focus on reminding people of the content that is actually being added and released in the Academy. So we're using a system called ManyChat to set this up and to automate those messages that go out to people via Facebook Messenger. It's all opt-in, so our members are prompted to enable those notifications if they wish. If they don't, that's fine, nothing happens. But when they choose to actually enable those notifications, there's a bunch of options in terms of how regularly they receive the updates. So they can choose to either get an instant update once a new member of content, new piece of content's gone in. They can choose to have that update weekly, or they choose to have it once a month. So a once a month summary via Facebook Messenger of any new content in that month. We also give them the option as well of choosing to no longer receive the weekly email. Because the last thing we want is for people to be getting continuously bombarded with stuff from us. So if they want a weekly Facebook Messenger notification and they're getting a weekly email, we want to make sure that they've had the choice to stop that weekly email. Interestingly enough, only one person out of the 70 or 80 who have enabled messenger notifications, only one of them has chosen to no longer receive the email. Everybody else wants to keep it. And again, with this, we don't necessarily position this as, do you want to stop the email? We give them the option to either say, yes, I want to continue receiving the email, or no, please stop the email. So these are people who actively want to keep getting that email. So that is promising for us because it tells us people want to be kept in the loop. They want those reminders and those updates. And so far, we're finding that we've got about a 90% open rate on those Facebook Messenger messages that are going out, and about 30 to 35% click through the content, which we're fairly happy with, especially considering that a lot of Messenger opens are going to be on mobile, where maybe someone's not able to open the content there and then, but they're made aware of it so that next time they log into the Academy, they know to go and look in the library for the new stuff. So it's relatively early on in this experiment. So far, again, we're happy with how it's going. We're going to be crunching numbers further down the line. We'll be reporting on this inside the membership lab as to whether content consumption has increased amongst the members who have been taking on these or enabling these messenger bot updates. And again, we'll be looking at things like whether it's something that affects retention. I know the great thing is about the membership lab is even if when we do crunch the numbers, it turns out that maybe one or two of these things that we're experimenting with aren't worth continuing, just the ability for us to be able to go back and report that to our members and have them watch and be able to follow along the progress we've made throughout that experiment and get insights into decision making and be able to actually look at the systems we've used and follow along for themselves. The value that comes with that for our members is immense. So in a way, that's the fourth membership tactic that we're currently experimenting with. Complete transparency over these sorts of things. If you can find ways of pulling back the curtain within your own membership site, and obviously this is depending on your topic and your audience, then you'll find that that creates a whole new dimension to the sort of value that you can provide to your members. And certainly the feedback that we've been getting so far on the Membership Lab feature inside Membersite Academy backs that up too. So I hope you found this interesting. Hope you found it useful. Maybe you may want to go away and try one of these things out for yourselves. Perhaps it's given you some ideas. Maybe these are the sort of things you've already been doing. I'd love to hear from you on social. If you're in our Facebook group, let me know. If you're not in our Facebook group, head over to talkmemberships.com, punch that into your address bar, and that will redirect you to our free Facebook group. We've got nearly 6,000 membership site owners in there helping each other out, and it's completely free. So let me know whether this has inspired you, whether it's given you ideas. Maybe it's helped you decide not to try something, or maybe it's helped you decide to revisit perhaps a tactic that you've already tried and put a little twist on it. I'd love to hear from you guys. A lot of what we do as membership site owners is experimenting. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. There's no one-size-fits-all strategy or tactic, no matter what anyone tries to tell you. So a lot of this stuff, in terms of making your membership successful, comes down to a willingness to try new things. And if you are an Academy member, the great thing is you get to follow along as we do just that, and we share the results and insights with you. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. I really do hope you've found it useful. Please let me know. Either hit me up on Twitter at Membership Guys, let us know in the Facebook group, or of course, if you're an Academy member, pop a post up in the forum. I'll be back again next week with another episode of the Membership Guys podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Membership Guys podcast, we invite you to check out the membersiteacademy.com. The Membersite Academy is the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a membership website. So whether you're still figuring out what your idea is going to be, or whether your website is already up and running and you're just looking for ways to grow it and attract new members, then the Membersite Academy can help you to get to the next level. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive member-only discounts, perks and tools, and a supportive, active community to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement and advice, the Membersite Academy is the perfect place to be for anyone looking to start, manage and grow a successful membership website. So check it out at membersiteacademy.com.